Welcome to Finance Series with Oyekemi Ajayi. We're going to be talking about workplace relevance. Are you relevant in your organization? How have you positioned yourself in the workplace? You spent 3 years, 5 years, 10 years on the same role in your organization, or you've been moving but at a very slow pace in your organization. Do you think you are doing things right? Do you think you are relevant? Do you think it's a skill gap? What could be the issue? Join me as we start this session with Yemi Fasheung. He's going to be talking about workplace relevance, how to identify the gaps in your skills, how to position yourself rightly, especially if you are looking to move to that C-level or to maybe middle-level management. What are the things that you need to do differently? Welcome once again, Yemi.
Thank you.
To have you again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for making out time out of your very, very, very busy schedule. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure a lot of professionals out there really value this time that you are giving on this podcast. All right, so I want us to go into it very quickly. As a consultant, I'll start with that. I have seen that a lot of people have that skill gap. But people that know how to present themselves well and even communicate well have a way of covering these things. But when you engage with them, you realize that they do not have a lot of depth. So as an HR specialist and also with your level of experience, you've seen a lot. You also move with people at the C-suite level, you move with middle-level managers and all that. What would be your advice on one, how they can actually identify the skill gap in question and how they can improve themselves to actually upskill in these areas?
All right. Thanks. Okay, Kami. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is I'm hoping that people are working in organizations where there is a solid performance management system. All right. So a formal way to quickly identify my gap will be feedback from my performance appraisal. Right? And I also do agree that many organizations have gaps in their performance management system where, number one, the goals are not even, or KPIs are not clear at the beginning of the year, and where at the end of the year, nobody gives performance feedback. So question therefore is, if you don't have that formal channel of communication to know where your skills gaps are, what do you do? And I think it's quite simple, but can be complicated. But let me take the simple route. Benchmark yourself, not only within, but without.
Okay.
So when you say that, for instance, let's go to my own space. You are the head of HR. Okay, I promise you that in today's world, there are so many people with 3-5 years work experience and they are heads of people and culture in many organizations. Please, guys, listen to me. I'm not taking a shade at anyone, but that's the reality. And when you sit with them to talk about strategic HR issues, they are absolutely zero. So coming back to the depth that you're talking about. So rather than being too much in a hurry to be in that space, why don't you first embed the fundamentals by deepening what skills you need to have before you become the head of people and culture? Because in 6 months or 1 year, I promise you, the rough edges will show up. So with yourself, get a chisel and smoothen first your rough edges by making sure that before the opportunities come, you are prepared in terms of skills depth, in terms of possibly certifications, but most importantly, the competence that you need. And we're talking about disruption in the world of work today, the now of work. We also know that with artificial intelligence, if you prompt any of the tools to say what is the competency level that I should be to take on the role of head of HR, it will give you all the things, both technically and behaviorally. You know what I mean? Soft skills. So why are we therefore still not able to plug those gaps ourselves? The opportunities are there. Honestly, we learned HR by number one, doing, and number two, by self-development. We didn't have the tools that are available to people today. So with that availability, how else can we situate or contextualize the fact that people are not able to recognize their gaps when there are tools that can help you easily to recognize your gaps? So are we in denial, or are we let's just continue to wing it, or are we listening to motivational speakers? If you can see it, you can get it, leave it, fake it until you make it, and all of that. All those things don't work. I'm working with a client right now in the financial services space, and on this project, a particular person, I'm not going to mention the role, in a particular role, by the second week that my partner and I were in that role, we realized that there were gaps. And it didn't take 2-3 days after my discussion with the partner for one of the executives to call us to say, I'm looking for somebody at a more strategic level. So if your role requires you to have strategic depth, but you're highly transactional and operational, it's a matter of time before, not AI now, taking over your job. Another human being will take over your job. So I don't think it's rocket science for me to know that I don't have the skills to do the job that I'm doing right now, or the job that I should move into in the future. I'll be very vulnerable on this podcast. My partner and I have complementary strengths, because I spent 3 years to get some very good grounding in consulting, one of the big four, and from there I moved into practice, more or less. So my experience over the years, therefore, has been along the what should we call industries, operations, right? So work with consultants to operationalize, whether at the transactional level or strategic level. Or my partner was in consulting for years. So there are some templates that she comes up with. I'm like, again, you know what I mean?
I know where this is coming from.
And that's not my own strength. I've got my strength, but we work together, right? So I'm constantly, therefore, understanding my gaps and learning how to close those gaps. And if I can't close, then she will be able to plug the gaps when we work together. You see what I mean? So if you're in a role and you know that there are gaps, there are competency gaps. Sorry, I'll say that, but if you don't know that there are competency gaps, then I've got a major problem with that individual. Because number one, there's a job description before you go into the role. That should tell you what is needed, right? Number two, by the time you come into the organization, you are giving your KPIs for deliverables, right? Number three, you're constantly getting performance feedback. I'm holding certain things constant, yeah. Right? You are constantly getting feedback, and you must be getting feedback from yourself. In fact, the best sort of feedback you can get is the one that you give yourself. When I used to say this, when you wake up yourself at 1 a.m. in the morning, I say, Yemi, let's talk. You know what I mean? Because you know what is expected of you, and you know the level at which you are delivering. And you can also let tech help you to say, these are the levels at which you should be delivering this role. However, these are the skills that you have. You can see either a fit or a mismatch. So maybe it's laziness, maybe it's winging it, maybe it's motivational speakers saying us fake it till you make it. I don't know, but the opportunities for us to know there are gaps, the opportunities are there.
Yeah, can I take you up there? So
Yes.
there are 2 things I'd like to talk about.
Right.
So the first is, I work in a bank, for example, and I've been there for 5 years as a teller.
Right.
And it's still the same thing I'm supposed to do. I've been doing. I've done all my job correctly. No errors, nothing.
Right.
So would you say that I'm not still improving in that regard? How do I know that there's a skill deficiency?
In that regard, you are employed, but you're not employable. For how many years do you want to be a teller? For how many years do you want to be a cash management officer? You see, we don't promote you into the next role at the next level and expect you to start delivering results at that level. Start delivering results of the next level in your current role, and then we will say that you are ready for the next level. And then we'll promote you.
Yeah, that's very familiar.
Exactly. I say that a lot, and that's the reality. Many people think, when I become a manager, I'll start acting as a manager. No, act as a manager now. And then we'll say, oh, you're 60% there, you're 40% there. So when you're not in the room and we're talking about you, 3 people, 4 people will say, based on my interaction with this person, he or she is ready for the next level. The other area may just be, let us help with chisel, right? Rough edges, and then training can handle that, mentoring can handle that, coaching can handle that. But if you're doing tailoring for 10 years, I promise you'll do tailoring very well. In fact, after a while, you'll be able to count your money without looking at the money because you've done it over and over again. But can I ask you a question? Where do we have the tailoring roles today? Has technology not taken over that job? I don't even go to the bank anymore to go and collect cash. I don't even use the ATM anymore to go collect cash. Everything is now tech-driven. Everything is on my device. So where is the job of the teller today? But if a teller is realizing and is conscious and is agile enough from a career perspective that this role, given all that is happening around me, will not be there in the next 2 years. So what else do I need to do? That's career agility. You therefore start planning for the next thing and for the next level. And that is where reskilling or upskilling become very, very important. For the teller, I don't even think it is upskilling anymore because there's a ceiling. It's like my driver. What else is it going to become? Senior driver, chief driver, principal. He's a driver, you know what I mean? So the next thing is reskilling. Don't upskill yourself in a role that is moribund, in the now of work, not relevant, but reskill yourself in the skills of the future. Again, why I say it's laziness, the World Economic Forum is always churning out skills of 2015. If you remember, skills of 20, they wrote out skills, relevant or top skills in 2030. Why are you not spending time, instead of spending time on Tauma, Mr. Macaroni, Mr. Savino?
Maybe you use that to unwind.
Spending a whole lot of time on all of that, the same time, the same data, the same device, you can use it to upskill or at least reskill. So it is not an excuse, honestly, for anybody in today's world. The opportunities to do several different things are available. You can learn coding on YouTube. You can learn how to make a dick icon on various platforms. You know what I mean? So what's the excuse? None. Honestly, none. So back to it, if I could summarize, I think making ourselves continually relevant is what I could equate with business continuity management. You know what I mean? You know, with business continuity management, we are almost simulating the future that may happen, negatively impacting our business, and therefore what we must do now to is the word insulate, so that the business continues as a going concern. It's the same thing that individuals must do. You need to constantly understand the external environment and how it impacts your job and get ready for that future. Otherwise, you wake up one day and the cheese would have moved.
Thank you very much. One more thing on this subject matter. So, you know, we have people that they work in a very fast-paced environment.
Right.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Right.
They need to reskill.
Right.
They need to do professional exams
Right.
and all that. And with the level of workload and the time, you know how it can be to study, implement, do the work and all that. It can be very little.
Yeah.
Right. And you see a lot of people trying. So what would be your advice for people like that? How would they be able to manage their time efficiently and then also navigate, the workplace?
If it were easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Those are not my words. I can't remember. I think this must be Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn. If it were easy, then it wouldn't be worth it. So, and don't forget that there's a time frame for that certification. There's a time frame for that qualification. And when you get over that hill, what becomes of life becomes easier. So whatever you need to do for that period of time, honestly, just do it. Make sacrifices. I always say that you must start with a vision, you must follow up with action, you must take risks, you must make sacrifices, you must embrace change. And I think the last one I say is that you must network,
Yeah.
right? Those 6 things are very, very important for career success. So let's go back to one of them. You got to make sacrifices, whether we like it or not. 24 hours is what we all have in a day. So we've got to prioritize and make sacrifices for the things that are important to us. I know that I don't know if you read profiles of successful people, I don't think it's ever a straight line of easy life. There are moments where life throws them off balance. There are moments where life throws at them a curveball, but some of them still make a slam dunk out of that. It is because of a vision. What you want to achieve. If you listen to Dr. Pritchett about new rules of engagement, quantum leap, making a quantum leap. They're not easy things, but you got to suspend disbelief. You've got to have a vision that's driving you. You've got to about 13 of them. You've got to fall in love with yourself. There has to be passion. Success must drive you. You've got to have a fear of failure. You know what I mean? So something must be propelling you beyond just the ordinary. So if you want to take yourself out of the universe of the ordinary, you've got to do extraordinary things. So the day you finally have that certification, then you can have another goal. And then after that, another goal. But the point is that goal is not going to come into existence. I'm sorry, if any Christian is listening to me, you don't just speak it into existence. You work for it. You don't just affirm it. You've got to action it as well. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying I don't believe in affirmation or I don't believe in having faith, but it is one side of the equation. We've got to work for it. So please, to anybody listening to us right now about that, you're going through that process, my position is it is what you've got to do now. Prioritize, make sacrifices. The day you hold that certification in your hand, you forget about all the stress that you went through and all that. But please, there is you should believe in your pursuit, the things you're trying to get. And believe me, it's always a matter of time. 2 things that I say: the things that we were worried about 5 years ago, many people listening to me should go and check. The things that we were worried about 5 years ago, those things are not there anymore. The things that we are worried about, 5 things that we're worried about now, in 5 years, they won't be there anymore. So give it focus, give it attention, give it sacrifice, make it happen.
Thank you very much.
Sure.